Stockton along with Matt Millen, and the Lions started out impressively this year, winning at Seattle and beating the Packers right here. They've lost 2 in a row now. Some of their glow have come off, but today they get back Herman Moore, who has yet to catch a pass, and that's got to be a big boost for their offense.
Yeah, it could give them a little bit of that glow back, but Herman Moore's going to need some help, because right now that quarterback, Charlie Batch, he's just getting waffled, and they have to protect him. If they don't protect Charlie Batch, he's not going to have a chance to throw it out to Herman Moore. Not only are they not protecting him, they're not run blocking particularly well. So they cannot be one-dimensional and win. And if Moore is going to boost them, they've got to get help from up front.
And this team is banged up on both sides of the ball, which we'll tell you more about. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings are 2-3, nowhere near the Vikings of a year ago, trying to get it back, but they have used this game to define their season.
Well, they're going to need something, because right now they're out of sync. But if you look at the numbers, they're not that far off from a year ago. What's really been missing has been kind of the big play. That's one thing that you can't really, on both sides of the ball, you can't put in a game plan and say, guess what, today we're going for the big play. That can't happen. They need to be more consistent, and I would expect that they're going to run the football in the middle of that line. That's where they'll gain their consistency.
All right now let's go down to the field and a report from Pam Oliver. Pam?
All right, thanks a lot, Dick. Running back Robert Smith will start today, but don't look for him to play any more than 30 to 40% of the time, according to Dennis Green. Smith has a hernia that he told me has been bothering him for weeks. Surgery has not been ruled out. If that happens, recovery time could be anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. Back to you.
All right, Pam, and Robert Smith has been plagued with injury throughout his career, and that's the last thing Dennis Green needs for his beleaguered offense. Back with the kickoff between the Lions and the Vikings in just a moment.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
Pontiac Silverdome sold out today, as it was in week 2 when the Lions beat the Packers, and this is the tightest division race going right now in the NFL. And the surprising team, the Chicago Bears, at 3-2, but a game and a half separates first place Green Bay from last place Minnesota and Tampa Bay, and it should be that way most, if not all, season. The Lions have won the toss, and they'll receive Mitch Berger, who has been brilliant as a punter and a kickoff specialist. There is Terry Fair, who has been equally outstanding in his brief career as a kick returner, 3rd in the NFC, and he'll be back for the Lions. Last year, the Vikings beat Detroit handily twice, but that was last year, as we know, and the end over end kick, Fair to return it from the 5. And Terry Fair brings it out with a flag down beyond the 25-yard line. So a penalty on the opening kickoff. Ron Winter is our referee today. And there he is. And that will move the Lions back somewhat. Right now, let's check out the Detroit Lions offense. As Ron Winter, as Matt mentioned, has not been protected well, sacked 19 times, most in the NFL. The offensive line, Curlin Blaze starts at left guard, and Barrett Brooks makes his first start at right tackle. Ron Rivers and Corey Schlesinger are the backs. Herman Moore returning to action for the first time since he injured a knee in week 1. Johnny Morton, the other receiver. David Sloan is the tight end, and now with the Moore back, Jermaine Crowell gives them 3 outstanding receivers today.
Well, if they're going to use those receivers, Barrett Brooks better have himself a big game.
And they start out with the 3 wide receiver group. First down from the 11-yard line following the penalty on the kickoff. And the handoff, Ron Rivers, and just a couple of yards on first down. The Minnesota Vikings defense, and they have made some changes. Chris Dolman will start his first game, so Dolman and Randall are the ends. Kylie Wong returns after missing 3 games with a hamstring pull at outside linebacker. And in the secondary, the big change today, rookie Kenny Wright, the 4th-round draft pick, replaces Ramos McDonald, who wasn't even suited up today, at cornerback.
Be lined up right now over Johnny Morton. They're going to have to protect inside if they want to get the ball out there to try that rookie.
Second down and 9. Batch to throw, and the pass is caught close to the first down. Johnny Morton makes the catch, and it will be a Lion first down.
You know, sometimes you don't even protect them that well, and you still go after the rookie. Charlie Batch got knocked down on this ball, but out here, this is Kenny Wright. He's the rookie. They're going to start it right away. The Lions are going to go fast at the rookie to see exactly what he's got. You see he's given a big cushion. Morton just takes advantage of the cushion The ball's delivered on time, but not before Batch is hit.
I think you're going to see both teams try to throw today because they think their receivers have the edge on the secondary. First down on the 22. And here is Ron Rivers off left tackle, finds an opening. Ron Rivers with a big gain close to the 45-yard line, brought down finally by Robert Griffith after a pickup of 22.
Well, either Chris Dolman was on a stunt or he just decided to come underneath. You're going to watch him. He's just going to come back underneath inside. See this? Yeah, it looks like he may have been slanting with the backers coming, but a nice job of Schlesinger. And then Ed McDaniel had a chance, just ran right by him. Nice job of Rivers once he gets into that second level, just using his eyes.
And that left side of the offensive line, Ray Robertson, Curlin Blaze getting the job done. First down on the 44. And the screen pass to Rivers. Ron Rivers wending his way toward midfield, and a fumble. And now
he's pointing down.
They ruled that the Rivers was down by contact by the middle linebacker Ed McDaniel, so it is still Lions ball, and they get to midfield. It'll be second down and about 4. Chris Dolman starting, as we mentioned.
Nice job by Blaze out there, actually blocked them back in, and that ball came out, but they had already ruled him down. And at home, you have to remember, the ruling matters more than the whistle. Once they rule it, it doesn't matter if they whistle that thing 10 minutes or 10 years from now. Once the ruling happens, it's down.
Second and 4. Again, they go to Rivers, going outside to the right. First down into Minnesota territory, inside the 45. Kenny Wright making the tackle, a gain of 6, and the Lions looking sharp, starting from their 11 on the first drive.
You know, Dick, if I put together, but he has that stuff inside that you can't measure. And he's an overachieving type of guy who does have good skills. You give him a chance, he's always going to rise to the occasion.
And he's getting that chance with Barry Sanders retired.
Who?
Number 20, I think he wore.
Remember him.
From the 44-yard line of Minnesota, Rivers again. And Robert Griffith brings him down in a gain of about 3 yards. The Lions trying to break a 2-game losing streak, and in the first 2 games they said who needs Barry, but in the last 2 games, especially the 37 yards gained on the ground against San Diego, people started to long for Mr. Sanders again.
You know, last week watching this offensive line, they were, in a word, pathetic. They did not play well. We're watching the tape, and I said they can't play that poorly 2 weeks in a row. Well, they're off to a good start right now.
Brian Stabline is in at wide receiver to the top. Second and 8. Rivers again looking for running room, and finally nowhere to go. Dwayne Rudd finally caught up with him, and a loss of about 4 yards on the play.
See how he never quits?
No,
he never stops, that guy. He's built low to the ground. He kind of looks like Robert Holmes, the old Dallas Cowboy. From the waist down, he probably weighs about like 260 from the waist down. From the waist up, he's not that thick or as thick. But what he does is he never stops. The guy never quits. They're going to jump on him, and the whistles are blowing, and guys are pushing. And at the end of that thing, he's going to pop right out of that huddle.
And there he goes, like magic. Third down and 11. Crowell in motion. That's getting time, and they're trying to go to Crowell up the middle, but the pass was incomplete, and that will bring up 4th down. So the Lions will have to kick after Charlie Batch brought them from their 11-yard line into Viking territory, and John Jett is in to kick it away. And David Palmer, who's back in action after missing last week's game with a rib injury, very dangerous as a return man. Jets kick fielded by Palmer on the 11. And good coverage by the Detroit Lions. And that was Richard Jordan who made the tackle. So the Vikings get the ball for the first time. Minnesota Vikings getting the ball for the first time in the game. Scoreless in the first quarter. After the Lions kicked it, we'll begin from the 17-yard line. There is Randy Moss, who has caught for over 100 receiving yards in each of the last 2 games, but still not out of the frustration mood he has been in.
Well, I think they're spoiled, to be honest with you. I think we were spoiled last year as fans of the National Football League. And this year, the NFL has caught up to Randy Moss. Remember, last year, a year ago at this time, he was the third receiver in.
That's a good point, and now everyone is ganging up on him on the defense. First down on the 17. Robert Smith with a couple of yards. Kelvin Pritchett making the tackle offensively for the Minnesota Vikings. Randall Cunningham, 3 interceptions last week, despite the 300 yards against the Chicago Bears. Stussy, McDaniel, Christie, Dixon, and Stringer, a solid offensive line thus far. Robert Smith with Randy Moss and Chris Carter. We'll see a lot of 2 tight ends today from Andrew Glover and Carlester Crumpler. And Leroy Horde has come in, and Smith is out of the game. Pam Oliver reporting that Smith having his injury problems, and we'll find out what that one is. 2nd and 8. They go to Horde, trying to go outside, and the power runner may have enough for a Viking first down, and he does. Andre Collins making the tackle. Let's set the Lions defensively. They're banged up everywhere. Luther Ellis starting, but Kelvin Pritchett started the game in place of Ellis, who has a groin pull. Scott Kowalkowski will begin at the middle linebacking spot with Stephen Boyd out of action, but he'll have some help. And Terry Fair, Mark Carrier, Ron Rice, and Robert Bailey again for the injured Brian Westbrook. And now Horde is shaken up. So Horde and Smith taken out after successive plays.
This is Leroy Horde at the end. He picks up the first down. Andre Collins just forcing him out. Carrier whacks him. Looks like he's going to land right on the ball. That's what it is.
And earlier, Matt, after the first play from scrimmage, it was Robert Smith who got hurt.
Remember, Pam Oliver told us about this at the start of the game, that Robert Smith has a hernia. And she mentioned that surgery was not ruled out of the question. Me personally, I mean, I'm no doctor. Big shock there. But I don't see how he can get better. How do you get a hernia better playing football in the National Football League without getting an operation?
And as Pam mentioned, they've known about it for several weeks. Actually, at camp, he started getting the symptoms. And so Robert Smith has not really had the burst that the Vikings had hoped. There's Mo Williams, who now will come in with both Smith and Horde out of action.
See this right here on the side of Mo Williams. Mo Williams better take that mouthpiece out of there and put it right there. There's nothing worse than running. Yeah. All of a sudden you get a hit in the chops and you go, oh, yeah, my mouthpiece, it's up here.
Leroy Horde had a cut lip, so he should get back in action. But Mo Williams in there now on first down at the 29.
And so is the mouthpiece.
And Mo Williams getting the call, hemmed in and struck back. And Travis Kerskey, who moved from right to left defensive end for this game, holds Mo Williams to no gain, bringing up 2nd and 10.
Kerskey does a good job of coming down the line, but that play was actually made to the front side where everybody held their gap. And if the Lions are going to play solid today, this is how they're going to have to play. Look on the front side. See the offensive line going back this way. That means you've reestablished the line of scrimmage. James Jones did an excellent job of getting a push backwards. If they can continue to do that, it's only the 2nd play of the game, but if they can continue to do that.
2nd and 11, and the pass caught by Randy Moss on the slant, short of the first down by about 3 yards. Terry Fair defending, and there's an advantage that the Vikings feel they will have on the Lion defenders, because Fair is 5'9", Bailey 5'10", and you've got the triumvirate of Carter, Moss, and Reed, who are at least 6'3" going against them.
The key in that passing game is going to be patience by the Lions. Don't give up anything big. Make them be patient and throw underneath.
3rd down and 3. Randall Cunningham with the short drop, but it's intercepted. And that's Terry Fair. Touchdown, Detroit.
Dick, that's the patience that I'm talking about. Stay back. Don't try to come up and force the issue. Fair plays it perfectly, working on Chris Carter. Watch the patience, back, read it, now break. The ball was just a tad thrown to the inside. Fair read it perfectly, waited on it, made the break, and it's going back the other way.
A 41-yard interception. Terry Fair playing it perfectly, and the Lions getting their 3rd interception of the year. First by Terry Fair, and this will get the crowd on its feet, and it's 6-0 in favor of the Lions. Randall Cunningham with his 9th interception of the year He threw only 10 all last season. And Jason Hansen aboard for the extra point. It's good. And the Lions lead it 7-0. Well, it ain't Lambeau Field, Matt. But
it's about 3 feet higher.
Terry Fair with his first career interception. He's in his second year from Tennessee, and it was a touchdown and one he'll never forget.
And did you see the guy who was the first one there to pat him on the back was Brian Westbrook, the other corner who's out today.
Jason Hansen to kick off. The Lions lead the Vikings 7-0. David Palmer returning it from Minnesota. And once again, the Lions with great coverage. First on the punt, now on the kickoff. We'll be right back to the Silverdome in just a moment.
Hey, you've heard this game called a game of inches. Chris Carter's just going to run it out. He's expecting the ball to be thrown to the outside, but it's thrown just a few inches to the inside. And Fair's break on the ball right there results in an interception. Had the ball been thrown to the outside, that break would have still been a good break, but it would have been a first down because Chris Carter would have used his body to get between the defender and the ball.
Robert Smith, who was taken out after the first play and shaken up, is back in and running back for the Vikings. From the 18-yard line, Smith gets the call and finds an opening. And he brings it out to the 26. Chris Claiborne, the tackle. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick and Matt, it was Warner to Bruce 4 times last week. Well, already today, Warner to Bruce. A little spread by Warner. He found his guy. 7-0 St. Louis over the Falcons. That in the first. Back to Dick and Matt.
Dick, remember just a few years ago, Isaac Bruce was the guy everybody was raving about, saying he's a Pro Bowl guy, his days are coming. Then he got banged up. His days are here right now.
No question about it. And the Rams trying to go 5-0, the only undefeated team in the National Football League. And close to the first down, Robert Smith, Mark Carrier bringing him down.
Dick, he's not, we're not seeing the same Robert Smith that we did a year ago. He doesn't quite have the burst. I believe he'd tell you the same thing. Obviously, with a hernia, that's going to hamper quite a bit. But what they're doing with him is they're staying patient with him. They're going to stay with the run game. They know that Luther Ellis is banged up. They don't have Stephen Boyd, so they're just running the football inside.
Play fake on first down. Cunningham sacked as the Lions catch up with him back on the 25-yard line. Kursky and James Jones were around Randall Cunningham. And a loss of 3.
I think he's looking downfield. You're going to watch Chris Carter across the middle. Nothing there. Bailey right on top of him. And then Glover's looking back inside, but the zone there by Claiborne. Nothing to throw there. So then you have to come back and you have to look to Randy Moss. But again, Fair to the top side. Kolakowski underneath. All that means no place to throw the ball. You have to take a bite out of it. Need it.
2nd and 13. Mo Williams, the setback. Short drop, and Cunningham's pass caught by Andrew Glover, the tight end. Carries it out to the 36-yard line, about 3 yards shy of the first down. Ron Rice making the tackle. The Vikings coming in 2-3, and that's the first time since Dennis Green became the head coach of the Vikings that the team has had a 2-3 record. You have to go back to 1991 when they were a game under 500 after 5 games.
Well, with this much talent, it's hard to believe that they're not going to be right there at the end.
3rd and 2. 3 wide receivers. And you know who they are. Cunningham and a whistle. A flag was thrown before the play. And let's see whether the penalty will indeed be on the defense. If it's against the Lions, it will be a first down for Minnesota.
Robert Bailey jumped. I don't know if he got back in time. Usually if that end man comes, they're going to blow the whistle dead because he'd be unabated to the quarterback.
Instead, it'll be against Randy Moss.
5-yard penalty.
And the Vikings, so a 5-yard penalty. So instead of a first down, if it had been against Detroit, a 5-yard penalty will bring up 3rd down.
Larry Peccatello, defensive coordinator, Dick, is he's rolling the bones here a little bit. He's bringing some people in their zone blitzes. He's not manning up. He's taking some calculated guesses because he knows he's got to stop him early and try to build something.
Well, you know Larry from his Redskin past.
Absolutely. That's a good coach.
3rd down and 7. And this time Bailey trying to anticipate the count and come in on a blitz. Similar to the last down, which went as a false start against the Vikings. Ron Winter.
Luther Ellis also jumped inside. Luther Ellis is playing hurt.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, defense, a 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
It probably was Ellis and Bailey, so they get the 5 yards back, and that'll bring us again to 3rd down and 2.
Luther Ellis, I think he's been pretty much nicked for Bobby Ross all season long. I watched him a year ago. I thought it was good. He was ready to take that next step.
And Robert Porcher, who's been banged up, did not start in the game right now at defensive end on 3rd and 2. 3 wide receivers. Cunningham getting time, and here's going to Randy Moss, who had beaten the defender, J.B. Brown, but could not hold on to the pass. It was a low pass, and that'll bring up 4th down. So the Vikings will have to kick.
That was well done by J.B. Brown. Although he doesn't have the speed to stay with Randy Moss, he used his body position. See how he stays to the inside? Now the ball has to be thrown up here or down low where it was. And because of the position of Brown, that ball's an incompletion.
And as it turned out, there would have been a tremendous catch if Moss had hung on to it. Cedric Urban, you saw number 33 back deep. Mitch Berger leading the NFL in punting. This is an end-over-end kick into the hands of Cedric Urban, and the rookie from Michigan State takes it out to the 30-yard line where Bo Williams makes the tackle. 48-yard punt that time by Berger. We'll be right back.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by the people inspired to build vehicles for your mind and heart. Nissan, driven. By Nextel, how business gets done. By SAP, one-step business over the internet. And by the U.S. Army, be a part of the toughest, smartest army in the world. Be all you can be.
Randy Moss on the sideline, and the focal point of the Vikings trying to get back to their explosive offense of a year ago. Meanwhile, the Lions with a 1st down on the 31. Following Cedric Urban's 14-yard punt return, Charlie Batch stepping up, and he's going deep for Crowell. And that was a long pass. Flag is down. Chris Rogers, the rookie, was defending on the play. Let's see who the flag is on.
Dick, the side judge took his flag out, then put it back in his pocket, and then the official in the middle, I believe the back judge, he's the one who threw it.
Interference. Number 29 in the defense. Penalizes the spot of the foul.
Chris Rogers, who is the nickel back today with the rookie Kenny Wright starting and Ramos McDonald inactive.
Ball hangs a little bit, and he's got to kind of choke it down a little. He shouldn't have choked it down, though. I want you to watch the official up top. See? Oh, did the okie dokie. Took it out, then pushed it back into his pants.
49-yard penalty on the pass interference against Rogers. Here is Ron Rivers firing his way inside the 20-yard line. Dwayne Rudd bringing him back. So the Vikings are thin in the defensive secondary when you look at the Lions with Moore, Crowell, and Johnny Morton today, going with a rookie starter at one corner and a rookie nickel coming in at corner as well.
Charlie Batch did an excellent job in that play to buy some time and push the ball down the field, which they haven't been doing well. Jermaine Crowell slowed down a little bit. He shouldn't have slowed down. That could have been 6 quick.
2nd down and 6. And a quick to Johnny Morton. And Morton tripped up at about the 10-yard line. May have a 1st down. Jimmy Hitchcock defending on that side. And the Lions will have a 1st down threatening to add to their 7-0 lead.
That's smart football. And I don't know if that's the eyes of Charlie Batch, or I don't know what that is, but when you're given a 12 to 15 yard cushion and you have acceleration speed like Morton does, throw it out there and let him get it. I mean, that's like stealing.
Charlie Batch trying to give the Lions another touchdown. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. Here's Ron Rivers wending his way inside the 5-yard line. A good bit of running by Ron Rivers before Chris Dolman brings him down, and a pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Remember, they brought Jerry Ball in here to solidify this defense. And one guy who was supposed to help out was John Randall. Actually, that's a good job by John Randall. He tried to jump it outside. He got to the corner of Barrett Brooks and forced it back inside, back to where all his help should be.
Randall moving to defensive end when Jerry Ball came in on his acquisition from Cleveland. 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line. Rivers tackled from behind by Ed McDaniel, but might get to about the 3-yard line, bringing up 3rd and goal. So once again, the Vikings not starting out on top, and that was their story last year, Matt, when they took big leads in games and their defense was able to gamble. Thus, they were able to win a lot of games, 15 to be exact, in the regular season.
Well, they were getting a lot of, like you said, they were getting an explosion early, and all of a sudden you're up by 14. You can dictate the pace of the game. They're going to be down by 14 now. It's a little different story if they can punch this in, Detroit.
3rd and goal at the 3. 3 wide receivers. Crowell goes in motion, play fake. Batch stepping up in his pass, and it's out of the end zone. It was intended for Johnny Morton, but he was clearly beyond the end zone, and that will bring up 4th down. So the Vikings prevent the touchdown, and the Lions will try for 3.
Watch the feet at the back of the end zone. Wright's right on top of him, goes up, forces the ball to go high. Now watch the feet down below. Now he didn't have control. That's an excellent job by the officials. There's one official here and one on the other side. Both of them were looking right down the line.
Jason Hansen has only attempted 4 field goals this year, but has made them all. This will be a 20-yard attempt as the Lions look to extend their lead, make it a 21-yard field goal attempt officially. John Jett the holder. The kick is perfect. So Hansen is 5 for 5. And the Lions have jumped out to a 10-0 lead in the 1st quarter with about a minute to go. The Lions lead the Vikings 10-0 with a minute and 3 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter. Jason Hansen's field goal capping a 6-play, 66-yard effort. And the big play was the pass interference call on the rookie Chris Rogers. There is Mo Williams on the right and David Palmer on the left, and Jason Hansen prepares to kick off.
I think the big point to be made in that is that Batch pushed the ball down the field. I think they have to do more of that in this offense. They got to stretch this offense. They got to stretch it deep.
And so far they are doing a good job of protecting Charlie Batch. Big issue. David Palmer on the run. Returning for the Vikings, who have protected the Lions have good coverage, and this time Corwin Brown making the tackle at the 25-yard line. Well, in the 2nd half of our doubleheader, Brett Favre, he's been a miracle worker so far this year in leading the Packers to a division-leading 3-1 record. He has had the magic when he's needed it at the end of the game. And today, the Packers will go against the Denver Broncos, who are 1-4 in a rematch of the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Coming up next in the 2nd half of our Fox NFL doubleheader. Vikings begin from the 26. Robert Smith, the running back, and a quick to Randy Moss. And holding on for dear life that time was Robert Bailey. And right now, let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles. JB.
Hey, Dick and Matt, take a look at Philadelphia. Doug Peterson going back, pump fakes. Dietrich jails, nice nifty double move. 57 yards to pay dirt. It's Philadelphia, which has never won in Chicago, on top 7-3. Back to Dick and Matt.
And whenever you say never, you know that something's got to break. Like last week, the Rams, after 17 losses to the 49ers, won that game. Robert Smith on 2nd down and 5. With a couple, will bring up 3rd and short at the 33.
We haven't seen Leroy Hort after he hurt his lip. He doesn't run with his lip. Speaking of Leroy Horde, here he comes. That's the kind of run that Leroy Horde excels at. I always liked this guy. I liked him at Michigan. I liked his physical style. I like to see him get humming.
And a great change of pace for Robert Smith, but Horde's going to carry the load mostly today. And that is the end of the first quarter with the score. The Lions 10, the Vikings nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue right after these messages. Bobby Ross, who's not using the injuries as an excuse, trying to keep the level shift despite the 2-game losing streak. But the team is 1-0 in the division, trying to go to 2-0. Vikings, meanwhile, with the ball, trailing by 10. Third down and 3 as we start the second quarter, and the pass to Randy Moss, caught for the first down to the 42-yard line. So they're going short to Moss early on, a gain of 9. The Minnesota Vikings, compared to last year, night and day. Look at the points per game, red zone where they really have struggled, Matt, and the turnover margin, which is...
We can make that a 6 right now with that pick. Yeah, there's no question that they're struggling. They're not the same, and I said it right at the start of the game. We were spoiled last year. And those years don't happen very often.
Audible called at the line. Chris Walsh in the game at wide receiver number 81, and the pass goes underneath to Moss. And a minimal gain on the play to the 46-yard line. A 3-yard gain to Randy Moss, who the story about Moss playing in the NBA reared its head this week when his agent called Flip Saunders, the general manager and head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves of the NBA, saying he'd be interested in that. And of course, Moss had to then say, well, I want to stay focused in football, not thinking about basketball. But he is a 2-time West Virginia Mr. Basketball, so who knows when the season is over.
He's got a lot of room out there right now by himself.
2nd and 7, a tip ball nearly intercepted by Andre Collins. And very nearly another interception. Terry Fair with an interception return for a touchdown off of Cunningham in the first quarter.
You've mentioned Andre Collins. You've also mentioned Scott Kolakowski, and the reason you're mentioning him is because Stephen Boyd, the regular middle linebacker, is out. So to fill the void of Boyd, they put Collins and Kolakowski and Richard Jordan at times.
So they're using a 3-headed monster in place of Boyd.
3 heads are better than 1, they say.
Third and 7, Porsche started his charge, and let's see whether Todd Stussy had drawn him offside. And after the finger pointing, Ron Winter will explain.
To me, that looked like Porsche.
Prior to the snap, a neutral zone infraction on the defense.
And the officials agreeing with you. So a 5-yard penalty.
A 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Watch him right down here. He's going to try to get the jump. And once he crosses it, once he jumps and he forces the offensive guy to move, they're going to call that neutral zone infraction, even if he gets back in time.
That's why he said causes the false start. Kolakowski back in at middle linebacker. Third down and 2 now on the Lion 49 for Randall Cunningham. Vikings trying to get something going, and they get the first down to Chris Carter. And J.B. Brown covering on the play. So the Vikings with the ball on the 44 of Detroit.
Dick, that's a perfect example of where the ball's thrown where it's supposed to be. Not exactly, not the same route, but ball placement was perfect. That time, he made his break. You know, watch, he's going to break to the outside. Now the ball has to be thrown out here. See, now the ball here, the receiver here, the defender here, it's easy.
Here is Leroy Horde. Ball fumbles. And the Lions get it. The Detroit Lions on the fumble by Leroy Horde and Ron Rice. Right there. So the turnover bugaboo continues to affect the Minnesota Vikings. First the interception, and now this fumble.
Rule number 1, don't beat yourself. James Jones didn't even whack it out. It just came out by itself.
And Ron Rice was right there to gobble it up.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Ford Outfitters. No boundaries. By 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. By Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one. And by E-Trade. It's time for E-Trade.
The Lions, after recovering the fumble, have the ball on their 42-yard line. Greg Hill is in the game at running back for the first time, and Bobby Ross wants to see him with considerable action today. Flag is down, and a slant pass to Johnny Morton. It'll be a first down for the Lions if the penalty is against the Minnesota Vikings.
And I believe it is.
And the preliminary signal is exactly that.
Looked like Williams jumped inside.
Tony Williams.
Offside. Number 94 of the defense. Penalties decline. Play results in a first down.
Watch Pritchett right here. I want you to watch his feet in particular. He's going to get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Good job by James Jones right there. Now his foot comes up, and it looks like it may have kicked the ball out of Horde's hand.
So Horde coughs it up, and now a first down on the 47-yard line of Minnesota, and a tight end, David Sloan. And that is a guy who was really forgotten last week in the loss to San Diego, and we know how potent an offensive weapon he can be.
You know, David, he's got strength. He runs extremely well. He catches the ball, and then he got hurt. And I believe this right now, this is the first time that he's been back to where he was 3 years ago.
Lions need 4 yards for the first down, and Greg Hill short by 1.5 yards. Hill, the former #1 pick from Kansas City, and may have the most speed of any of the Detroit Lions running backs as they try to compensate, if at all possible, for the loss of Barry Sanders. So Hill will play a lot today.
You know the old adage, Dick, when you have 3, you don't have 1. Or when you have 2, you don't have 1. Right now they use Schlesinger and Hill and Ron Rivers, which means they're not settled on 1 guy.
Third down and 1. Schlesinger is the blocking back, and Hill bursts up the middle. And a big opening for Greg Hill, an 11-yard pickup inside the 30-yard line to the 27. Griffith finally on the stop, and the Lions are threatening again.
Watch Hardings and Compton inside. Excellent job by Hardings. Nice job by Corey Schlesinger. They do a perfect job of getting a hole open and allow Hill to just come right up inside. The first guy he hits, he runs into Robert Griffiths, and that's 12 yards down the field.
Hey, that Lion offensive line, and I know Schlesinger played a big role. They have been patchwork all year with all of the injuries that they have suffered. And now the Lions call a timeout. They are on the Viking 26. We'll be right back to Pontiac. Asking Denny Green yesterday, what do you need? He says 5 wins in a row, and we got to start tomorrow. And he was pleased that he was playing on the road. He said, when you're not going well, it's not bad to be away from home. But he's trailing 10-0 in the Lions with a first down on the Viking 27. Following Detroit's timeout, their first of the first half, Bat stepping up and going into the end zone to Herman Moore. Leaping to try to make the touchdown catch. Comes down empty. Jimmy Hitchcock was defending on the play as they go to Moore for the first time, and a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Well played by Hitchcock. And this is going to go against the Lions. The whole offense is walking backwards. They try to double move on Hitchcock. Remember, Jimmy Hitchcock's the one who sometimes will guess. Although it's an educated guess, he's a good film studier.
Holding. Number 62 of the offense. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
62 is Tony Semple,
who's not playing today. But Jeff Harding, 64 is. So it may be on the former Penn Stater.
Yeah, it could be right there on Phillips. You know, when he makes plays like that, he kind of reminds me of went to Syracuse a little bit.
It's a low blow today. First and 20. Charlie Batch on the screen pass to Hill. And Hill is tackled, and a good play. Nice job by Kenny Wright. 6-yard pickup. Well, tonight on Fox, Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. The Boston Red Sox trouncing the Yankees yesterday to get back into the series. Brett Saberhagen will be on the mound for the Red Sox, and Andy Pettitte for the Yankees. who has been impressive in his last 2 playoff outings. That's tonight on Fox, the Red Sox and the Yankees from Fenway Park. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brentley will bring it to you. Charlie Batch's pass intended for Walter Rasby went right through his hands.
Riley Wong was right there. You know, that's a lot of what they're doing in this Detroit offense is 3 steps and then throw. And 3 steps and throw and trying to get rid of the ball quick. Now, part of that is because you have the young quarterback, but the bigger part is because your offensive line has not been blocking that well. The problem is defensively, you can start to see a rhythm. And that's when a guy like Jimmy Hitchcock, who's a great film studier, can pick things up. In fact, last year he took one back all the way based on that rhythm.
3rd down and 14. Hitchcock is not going to change his style. 3 wide receivers. Charlie Batch gets it out quickly. It was intended for Stabline, incomplete, and very dangerously the Vikings.
Dick, that's a perfect example. That was 3 steps and get rid of the ball, and Hitchcock was breaking right as that ball was being thrown. Now, part of that is anticipation, and a lot of it is film study.
Jimmy Hitchcock saying yesterday that cornerbacks know they're their worst critics when they make a mistake, and when he erred in his coverage on Corey Bradford in the Packer game, he didn't have to be told by Chris Carter coming off the field that he had made a mistake, but they worked that out. Jason Hansen to attempt a 49-yard field goal. Has already hit one from 21. And this kick is long enough, and this kick's good.
Boy, he drilled that one.
Boy, did he ever. Hansen 6 for 6 on the year, and the Lions, taking advantage of the turnover, have opened up now a 13-0 lead over the Vikings. Herman Moore sprained a knee in the opening game against the Seahawks and has yet to catch a pass. Thrown to once, and he's shaken up again.
Well, that's the play. Last play he was in. It was that high one. He tried to go up and go for the ball. And we anticipated that happening in this game. I don't think he anticipated that happening in this game.
He said he wasn't 100%, but close coming into this game. David Palmer returning the kickoff following the 49-yard field goal by Jason Hansen, carries it out to the 25-yard line. Richard Jordan making the tackle, so 13-0 in favor of the Lions with just under 10 minutes to go, and Herman Moore will be making his way into the locker room. So that's not good news for the Lions.
Another injury for the Lions. What that does now to their receiving core, first of all, you lose depth, but you lose a big receiver. Even though he doesn't have great speed, he has presence, and a lot of times you're forced to have to kick your coverage to Herman Moore.
Yeah, you've got to honor him. Robert Smith is the running back, blocking here for Cunningham, and the pass is batted down. That's been one of the things we have seen today, or this year, from Randall Cunningham. Passes being tipped at the line of scrimmage. That was James Jones, and it's been a terrible start for the Vikings offense. The interception resulting in a touchdown, a punt, and then the fumble, and the Lions got 3 out of that one.
Yeah, but also look at your starting position right here. Ooh, look out! Look at their starting field position. Yeah, that spot on his shirt right there.
Good catch by you.
They've not had good starting field position at all.
They're on the 26 now, 2nd down and 10. Cunningham's pass caught by Randy Moss, and that'll be a Viking 1st down to the 37-yard line. So nothing fancy and deep to Randy Moss, and that was a 12-yard pickup, which the Vikings will accept.
Patience is going to be the key right here for this Minnesota Viking offense. They know they have the talent. They know they have, the play and all that. They have all that stuff. The offense, they've just got to be patient and work their way down. You're only down 2 scores. You got a lot of time.
There's Leroy Horde, who's back in the game right now. And Randall Cunningham goes down for the 2nd time. And it's Mike Pringley, the rookie from North Carolina, with the sack. And right now, for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Dick and Matt, Bob Christian had just scored a touchdown for the Falcons to draw within 7 when Tony Horn takes this one in the end zone, avoids a traffic tie-up, heads down the sidelines, back-to-back games for a kick return for a touchdown for this young man. 3rd consecutive. The special teams have done it for the Rams. 21-7. Dick and Matt.
Boy, they're making it look easy so far this year, the Rams. Meanwhile, after the sack and a loss of 3, 2nd and 13 at the 35, and Cunningham loses the ball. It's a free ball, and Leroy Horde had it, and then he lost it. And the Lions get it inside the 15.
They're just beating themselves. Excellent call by Larry Peccatello, the defensive coordinator. Going with the blitz, coming off the corner. Knocked the ball free. You're going to watch Bailey coming down inside. Claiborne stepping up to draw the block.
Tracy Scroggins
got there, slapped the ball away. Now here's a mistake. Fall on the ball. Very, very well done. And then poorly done down here by Leroy Horde.
And the 3rd turnover, and the Lions have scored on the first 2. Larry Peccatello's defense doing a terrific job. First down on the 12 of the Vikings. Greg Hill is the running back, and here is Jermaine Crowell, and he gets inside the 10. The update on the injury to Herman Moore is that he has an injured lower leg, and it's questionable as to whether he'll return. So Crowell, who was the 3rd receiver, now moves up to the 2nd slot.
Hey, Kenny Wright his helmet came right off his head, but this is actually a good job of sticking your face in there and then staying with it. Remember, Ramos McDonald is out of there because he wouldn't do that. And I'm actually a little surprised that they haven't tested Kenny Wright more here in this first half.
2nd and 7, the ball at the 9. And here is Hill, nothing there. Ran right into Tony Williams, and that will bring up 3rd down and about 6. The Lions leading 13-0. First touchdown and an interception by Terry Fair, and he ran it in 41 yards to give the Lions a 7-0 lead. 2 field goals by Jason Hanson, one coming after a Leroy Horde fumble. Now the Lions trying to capitalize on yet another Minnesota turnover.
This is an area where they have to give Charlie Batch an option. Let him roll a little bit, use his feet to buy some time and take off if he has to.
He's been unscathed thus far. 3rd down and 7. Batch is scathed finally, and it's Dwayne Clemens who lost his starting spot to Chris Dolman, but came in leading the Vikings in sacks, now picking up his 4th of the year.
That was good coverage down the field, but then you're going to watch him set 1, 2, 3, step and throw. Nothing's there. He just has to eat it. He had Stabline underneath. But I believe in situations like that, you have to give Batch, who's a good athlete, you have to give him an option. And you can't just let him sit right there. You roll him a little bit, buy time, and it changes your zones and your coverage as the field changes.
28-yard field goal attempt coming up for Jason Hanson. And Hanson's kick is good. And he's 3 for 3 tonight, and the Lions have opened up a 16-0 lead. It has been a nightmarish day thus far for the Vikings. Larry Peccatello's defense causing 3 big turnovers. On the left is Kevin Abrams, the starting quarterback, who has been injured but will resume practice next week. On the right, Stephen Boyd, who was a tremendous middle linebacker, always around the ball. Just 2 of the missing defensive players that the Lions have. But look at the scoreboard and the way their defense has played. They don't seem like they're missing anyone.
There's another one right there, 32. Ryan Westbrook.
Hanson kicking off with 6:34 to go in the first half. It's now 16-0 in favor of the Lions. David Palmer stuttering his way to the 23 and a flag thrown. Penalty markers down.
Story in this game right now is the Minnesota Vikings are just punching themselves in the face.
Brock Olivo, who's been a very solid special teams player for the Lions on coverages. Denny Green not seeing the team respond thus far today. And it'll go against the Vikings on the return, and will set them back for this first play of the drive. A year ago, Denny Green said, we dictated games. That isn't happening this time.
Return. Holding. Number 81 on the return team.
That's Chris
Half
Walsh.
the distance to the goal.
Half the distance. Well, Sunday, November 7th, the wait is over. The fall's biggest event is coming. Don't miss the most anticipated premiere of the new season, The X-Files, on Sunday, November 7th on Fox. Well, the Vikings start from the 7. Robert Smith has John Henry Mills as the blocking back. Cunningham in the end zone, and the pass caught by Chris Carter. That will be a first down at the 21-yard line, getting out of some deep trouble. 4 possessions so far for the Vikings. They punted once and turned it over 3 times, one resulting in a immediate touchdown, the interception by Terry Fair for the score, the others resulting in field goal. Minnesota first down on their 21. Cunningham going up top for Randy Moss. Oh, man. Incomplete. Robert Bailey, step for step with Moss, did a great job covering with him.
Did an excellent job of anticipating, Dick, because he can't run with Randy Moss, but when you have a 15-yard cushion, then you stay on top. You anticipate where he's going to go. Now watch, Moss more than makes up the cushion, but he stays on. The ball hangs a little bit, but Bailey played it perfectly. You don't have to be the fastest to cover the fastest, but you do have to be smart.
Remember, Bailey's 5'10", Moss 6'4", and Moss leaves the game. Bailey, who is playing in place of the injured Brian Westbrook. Second down and 10, and a running play to Leroy Horde. And good pursuit that time as Horde is knocked out of bounds by Mark Carrier, the veteran's 3 safety. This game 16-0, all about turnovers. This was the first Terry Fair with a 41-yard interception for a touchdown.
Leroy Horde with the fumble and set up a field goal. And then later, this fumble by Cunningham sets up another field goal. Now, lost in all this is that the Minnesota defense played pretty well on those turnovers to hold them to fumble.
3rd and 11. Lions showing blitz. They don't come, however, and Cunningham's pass, and Carter makes the reception, but he is tackled short of the first down by about 2.5 yards. So that was good coverage by the Lions, not in the fact that Carter caught it. They wouldn't let him get the yards for the first.
Yeah, but that was a mistake by Chris Carter, as he's usually the master of the first down sticks. And that time he didn't know exactly where those sticks were. He caught the ball and was tackled right away. He needed to be 2 yards deeper. That's rare that he does that.
Robert Bailey was right in on the play. Thus Mitch Berger comes in to punt. And Cedric Irvin goes back deep for the Lions. This is a relatively short punt for Berger, but doesn't matter, as good coverage downfield by Kaba Usama Mays. Well, a new stadium is on the horizon. The Dome Stadium adjacent to Comerica Park, which will be the new Tiger Stadium. You'll see it in the background. There it is on the right. Groundbreaking will take place within the next 60 days, and the construction schedule should have the stadium ready for the 2002 season. And the Dome Stadium, partly built into a former Hudson's warehouse, into historical Detroit-like feel. So both the Lions and the Tigers will be back downtown as they were when they played at Briggs Stadium and, of course, Tiger Stadium, which closed this past month. Lions with a first down on their 30-yard line. Charlie Batch up the middle to Sloan, and it's broken up. Good coverage by Ed McDaniel. Right now, let's get an update from JB in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, Philadelphia intent on breaking that never having won in Chicago Street. Take a look at Peterson as he finds at the back of the end zone. Luther Broughton, tight end, hauls it in. 17-6 Eagles over the Bears. That in the second. Back to Dick and Matt.
Matt, how do you figure any of these games? Because they can go either way. I mean, just about all of them each week.
I just watched Chicago on tape. They look pretty darn good. And I watched Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. That would give you a plug nickel for them. And now they just came off of a Dallas win, and they're winning again.
Greg Hill with a burst of speed. And that's the aspect that the Lions have lacked this year. But Greg Hill with a 36-yard gain before Chris Rogers brings him down at the 34-yard line of the Vikings.
Well, what they haven't lacked is good blocking from number 64, Jeff Hardings. He's been pretty good all year long, along with Compton, and they were able to open that thing again, just like we saw in the first quarter, just blowing right up the middle. Watch Hardings, 64. Excellent job. Just getting a little help from his friends there, known as his hands, on Ed McDaniel.
50 yards for Greg Hill on 4 carries. Gets another chance and picks up a couple with Tony Williams making the stop. So the 36-yard run by Hill. He had an 11-yard run before. And the former Kansas City Chief, who has been well traveled and trying to give the Lions a better running game. Last week, only 37 yards rushing. Their worst performance of the year against a very tough San Diego defense. Remember, the Lions have played 3 AFC West teams in their first 4 games. 2nd and 10 on the 34, Minnesota. Charlie Batch with time has slowed the tight end, and the second effort nets him a first down. Good hustle or strength by Sloan after the catch, and a pickup of 11.
I like David Sloan. He'd be on my team. That's the kind of play I don't think a lot of guys really know about him. He runs well. He's strong. Runs decent routes. Now he's working against Dwayne Rudd. Just running that out move means simple. If you're going to run that stick and the backer's on the inside with the ability he has to come out of his breaks, that's a completion every time.
Lions are playing ahead like the Vikings did last year. You can be free and wheeling on offense, take chances defensively. First down at the 22. Batch, who has been protected well today, finds Stabline, and Brian Stabline hit at the 15-yard line, short of the first down by a couple.
Dick, you said it perfectly. Protected well today. Remember, a week ago, he was getting peppered. The people up here were saying he's not going to be able to stand the season. And to be honest with you, that offensive line was horrible last week. I mean, they were horrible. I talked to Ray Roberts at the start of the game, and I said, how you doing, Ray? And he said, okay. I said, how's it going? And he looked at me and just kind of shook his head.
That was a bad week for him.
And he said, I won't play that bad again. And he's playing pretty well right now.
So the line has come up big against the Vikings thus far. The 2-minute warning here in the second quarter will return. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. Lions looking to add to their 16-0 lead. 2nd down and 2 on the Viking 14. Here's Greg Hill trying to go outside, and he gets the first down to about the 10-yard line, where Dwayne Rudd and Robert Griffith make the tackle. The Vikings have their largest deficit right now, 16 points, since December of 1997, when they trailed the Packers 20-3, and that only is another testament to what they did last year when they took early leads and ended up with a 15-1 regular season record. This is a different year. Make no mistake about it. First down for the Lions on the 11. Greg Hill with the carry. And Orlando Thomas coming up from his safety position. And a loss, maybe no gain on the play.
You know, one guy we really haven't spoken very much about today is John Randall, number 93. Now, right now, he's working there on Jeff Hardings. Hardings is playing extremely well. I think he's having an excellent year. John Randall today is having a very quiet day. And for this defense to do well, Randall, he's got to make plays.
Remember, the defense has been playing almost with half a field.
Sure.
Because of the turnovers of the offense. 2nd and 10 on the 11-yard line. And here is Batch, and off the hands of Sloan, and nearly intercepted by Orlando Thomas. So Sloan should have made the catch. Didn't look like Thomas had the ball for the interception.
That's a catch that has to be made. Nice job. Excellent job of getting off the ball. Just catch the ball. There's a good job of Dwayne Rudd of pushing him off on his release, and the ball had some mustard on it, but Sloan's going to make that catch.
Brings up a 3rd and 10. 34 seconds remaining in the first half. Charlie Batch up the middle. It's tipped, And incomplete. Sloan, the intended receiver, and Dwayne Rudd covering downfield, got a hand on it. So once again, the Lions, who have scored only one touchdown, that on a defensive score, will then try to put things in the foot, I should say, of Jason Hansen.
Excellent job by Dwayne Rudd. Knows where he wants to go. The ball's thrown up high where it had to be, but Rudd was able to sky and knock that ball out of the way. Very well done.
Yeah, Jason Hansen will attempt a 29-yard field goal. He is 3 for 3 thus far today, including a 49-yard field goal. And this kick is perfect, so Hansen is 4 for 4. And the Lions stretch their lead to 19-0. Right now, let's go down to the field. Pam Oliver is with Reggie Brown.
And it's my pleasure to be here with Reggie Brown. We all remember he was injured in that awful spinal cord injury 2 years ago. Reggie, what's it like for you to be back? Your team's not disappointing, I'm sure.
Well, it's great. Give me a chance to come, see my ex-teammates and everything. Get a chance to get back to the city and see how everything's going up here.
Here's what I want to know. How's life for you? What have you been up to? What are your future plans?
Well, my retirement life is kind of boring, so I'm trying to look for my second career. I'm busy up here trying to visit with a few people, see how different opportunities that open up for me.
You can always come and do television like every other football player who's finished the game. Let's go back up to Dick.
All right, just great to see Reggie Brown. And, of course, I'm with one of those ex-football players, ex-linebackers, who was in television. There's Matt Millen.
This is television? You're kidding me. Heck, I thought I was just at a football game enjoying myself.
Well, it sounds like that's what it is.
Reggie Brown was excellent. Reggie Brown's best part of his career was just about to happen. He was just getting his feet under him and becoming an excellent player, and then he had that spinal cord. The good thing is he's up and around, and he's doing well.
Displaced vertebrae in his neck. His life really saved by the Lions trainers on the field. He stopped breathing at one point. Doctors fused his 2 vertebrae. And he and his fiancee Kerry live in College Station, Texas. And it's great to see Reggie Brown with a smile on his face. David Palmer back deep to receive the kickoff from Jason Hansen. And it's a bounding kick picked up by Palmer inside the 5-yard line. And down he goes. A one-handed tackle made by Krewald, the rookie from Wisconsin Stevens Point, who was a 6th-round draft choice.
Krewald just threw him down with one hand. Personally, I think Palmer needed to get up the field in more of a hurry. He kind of danced a little bit, and all that dancing did was get a Krewald shot to the gut, thrown down to the ground.
19 seconds to go in the first half, and the Vikings on the 15-yard line, trailing 19-0. 3-man rush against Randall Cunningham, and his pass caught by Randy Moss. Moss with 6 receptions gets up to about a yard or 2 gain. Well, the Viking defense has done a good job today, Matt, with the fact that they have not allowed a touchdown, limiting the Lions to 4 field goals. But it's a big Lion lead. That is the end of the first half with the score, the Lions 19 and the Vikings nothing. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
The Visa Halftime Report is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
And welcome to the Visa Halftime with the full house here in Los Angeles. Yours truly, James Brown, and at the Pontiac Silverdome. Lions taking advantage of 3 Vikings turnovers in this one. Herman Moore back with the knee, still banged up.
Welcome back, Herman Moore. Right off the bat, though, Randall Cunningham having a hard year. Terry Fair steps in front of this quick out 41-yard touchdown for the Lions. An interception, 7-0 Lions. Herman Moore came in with an injured right knee, but they checked his left knee, leaves the football game. Now, you see Cunningham blitzed by Tracy Scoggins. He's nailed. Ball's recovered by James Jones, led to a field goal, and we have a 19-0 Lions over the Vikings at the half.
All right, Chris Chandler back at the helm for the Falcons.
Well, it's good to have Herman Moore back. Good to have Chris Chandler back. And it's nice to see Marshall Faulk inside, outside, 6-yard touchdown run, 14-0 Rams. And then Bob Christian out of the backfield. It takes his pass from Chandler, runs over Todd Collins, 14-7. Then on the ensuing kickoff, JV, you talk about long runs, long completions. It's all Rams. There you have Tony Horn. Second week in a row, he returns a kickoff for a touchdown. This one covering 101 yards, 21-7 at this point. And then Grant Winstrom, W-I-S-T-R-O-M.
Say that one more time.
Winstrom.
There you go.
Is he in shape? 91-yard interception return. Look at him go.
Looks
Howie,
like long.
no, he does not. He's fat. He's mean. He's bad to the bone. 28-7. Rams at the half.
Cade McNown out of UCLA getting the start for the Bears today.
Hoping to have a good first half. We hope he did too. Garrett Croton, the offensive coordinator, said, okay, we will. But let's give it to Doug Peterson. A huge first half. He pumps 57-yard touchdown reception to Dedrick Jales. It's 7-3 Eagles. Even with those ugly uniforms, they're looking awfully impressive. Now, play action, rolls right. Peterson back in the end zone. Luther Broughton pushes off Walt Harris. Touchdown reception. All Eagles at the half, 20-6.
Peterson having an outstanding first half, and the Patriots nipping the Dolphins by 1 right now. That one up at Foxborough, and Dan Marino out, re-injured that shoulder there. Colts on trailing the Jets 13-7. Jets with Wilkins with a 22-yard touchdown catch in there for Indy. Raiders 13-7 over the Bills. Smith with a 52-yard touchdown run, but they need a lot more of that. Can you believe this? The Browns right now on top of Jacksonville. Browns having and winning the time of possession battle there. Saints. Hey, didn't Jimmy Kimmel pick this one? Saints on top.
Don't mention
that name. Jimmy Kimmel did pick that one. Steelers. 14-3.
There you go. A little enthusiasm here, JV.
Jerome Bettis is helping the cause there.
Pick it up.
Well, speaking of enthusiasm, hey, not so much enthusiasm for the play of Randall Cunningham. The question is, at what point do you consider taking him out?
I do think you have to consider it, not so much because of the play of Randall Cunningham, because of the effort of the Minnesota Vikings. It is one thing to go out there and get whipped. It's another thing when you like it. This Minnesota Vikings team right now has no heart. They're not trying. They're getting physically beat up out there, and I don't see anybody reacting to it. It's amazing.
Wow.
I'm telling you, watch it.
You didn't get enough sleep.
How does this go from the team we saw last year? Honestly, when they started out slowly, when Denver started out slowly, I honestly thought Minnesota and Denver would be two teams that would right the ship. Denver obviously losing Elway, Greasy's in there at quarterback, Terrell Davis is out. But in Minnesota, you really can't put your finger on something tangible. Brian Billick is gone. Chip Myers, the loss of Chip Myers, who was the heir apparent as the offensive coordinator, passing prematurely. A lot of people say he might have been the best coach they had there. Chip Myers is sorely missed there, and so is Brian Billick. But something is wrong there. What it is, I don't know. Is it the coordinator? Is it the quarterback?
I think it's the coordinator, and the quarterback doesn't have confidence in the coordinator that's there now. Brian Billick, without question, one of the top 3 offensive minds in all of the National Football League, and Randall Cunningham sorely misses him. He helped him a lot, and you can see it in Cunningham's play. I think there should be a switch at halftime. I think it'd be good for Randall.
Wow, no heart.
And I'm saying Jeff George should play for Minnesota. Have I lost my mind? What's wrong? I obviously didn't get enough sleep.
Second half of your game.
Go ahead, JV. Get it.
Vikings, Lions coming up.
Lions leading 19-0, getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dick. I talked to Dennis Green at halftime. He is making a switch at quarterback. He says Randall Cunningham is not getting it done for him today. They are going with backup Jeff George. He's looking for a spark at this point, looking for something to get things going on a better note in the second half. Back to you.
Well, a pretty dramatic move in a lot of ways because, you know, the Vikings put their marbles in the basket of Randall Cunningham this year, not in Brad Johnson, who's with Washington, in a game in which Dennis Green wanted badly, and right now on the short end, 19-0.
Well, so what they're going to do, they're going to try to find something, got to get something going. It's clear 2 things are happening. Number 1, they're not running the football very well. Number 2, the pace of the game is being dictated by the Detroit Lions, and defensively, Minnesota's been playing pretty good. If there's a silver lining in the whole thing, it's been that they've been forced to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns. So as they get the ball back first here to start this third quarter, if Jeff George can give them 7 points, it's a completely different game.
That's a great point because by not allowing even 1 touchdown by the offense of the Lions, A great job by the Minnesota defense. It is a 3-score game. So you're right. 3 touchdowns away from taking the lead. And Randall Cunningham, a team player, offering encouragement to Jeff George, who saw his first action against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, throwing an incomplete pass when Randall Cunningham had to come out of the game with an injury. He has not played in 3 other games. So Jeff George, the 10-year veteran from Illinois, will take over at quarterback as Jason Hanson gets the second half underway. David Palmer returning from 5 yards in the end zone. And Palmer wrestled out of bounds by Corwin Brown. Halftime statistics, Matt, and all you have to do is look at the turnovers and points off.
No, that's the biggest thing right here. 3 turnovers. You can't beat yourself. That's just that simple. You know, you can look at the total yards and all the other stuff. Really doesn't make much of a difference. What matters is those turnovers and the field position that you give.
And the field position has been dramatic. 3 turnovers, as you see. The starting point, nothing farther than the 26-yard line for the Vikings. They start here from the 20. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends in the lineup. Jeff George on first down. Fires up the middle, and wide open is Andrew Glover. And Glover gets it to midfield for the Vikings. So a quick spark if you're looking for that. 30 yards. George to Glover with Mark Carrier tackling.
Let me make this perfectly clear. The most talented quarterback in the National Football League. Not the best quarterback, the most talented quarterback in this league is Jeff George. I will put his skills against anybody, and I love Brett Favre. But as far as arm strength, release, ability to all those to make a play, that guy can do it. What he's missing has been leadership skills.
From the 49-yard line, a play fake on first down, and wide open is John Henry Mills. And Mills getting the first down to the 35. So Dennis Green, going to the backup Jeff George, has completed 2 passes and a 14-yard gain into Lion territory.
Dick, I think the best quarterback in this league is, by far, is Brett Favre. I don't think there's any question. But if you had the quarterback Olympics and, you know, and rated all those things, you know, the release, all that stuff, whatever they do, Jeff George at the top of the list.
Started for the Raiders last year and led the Oaklanders to 4 road wins. The road wins from Dallas and Arizona. So he can be effective away from home. First down at the 35. Leroy Horde with a burst. And it appears that the entire Viking offense is responding to the change. A gain of 15 yards.
Well, now all of a sudden, just in 3 plays, now they're dictating to this Lion defense what to do. It's a nice job of blocking up front. Jeff Christie got himself a good block. David Dixon did a nice job of clearing out the right side. And then Leroy Horde's into that second level, and it's a first down.
Randall Cunningham was 10 of 15 for 78 yards and the interception, which resulted in a touchdown. Minnesota 27 yards away from their first 6 drives of the game as Horde gets hit and is tackled by Claiborne, the rookie #1 pick from Southern Cal, but a gain for Horde of 3. Important game for the Minnesota Vikings. Not so much that their season might be in jeopardy at 2-4, not this year, but if the Vikings don't come back and fall to 1-3 in the NFC Central, they could be in jeopardy of being on the short end of a lot of tie-breaking possibilities that could arise later on. Last week, the Vikings managed only 4 field goals in 6 possessions in the red zone.
This is where they've really been struggling. They've been in the red zone.
Second down and 7, and the pass, touchdown to Chris Carter.
What a throw. That's, you want to make a little bit of difference with your quarterback? There's a big difference right there. 3 passes, 3 completions, and a touchdown. And of course, watch the fake to the right. He knows he's going back to Carter. Carter's on top of Bailey. The ball's thrown up high where it has to be. Bailey can't recover, and it's 6 quick. That didn't take long, did it?
And this is the first offensive touchdown by either team in this game. A 17-yard strike to Chris Carter, and Gary Anderson with the extra point. It's good. And suddenly and dramatically, Jeff George has led the Vikings on their first drive of the second half to a touchdown. They trail 19-7.
Fox NFL. NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chrysler, giving you back the romance of driving.
There's Jeff George, who engineered a very quick touchdown drive. 5 plays in 80 yards. Count by Chris Carter, who caught his second touchdown pass of the year. George 3 for 3 for 62 yards. And the kickoff by Mitch Berger. And Terry Fair on the return from the goal line. Fair brings it out to the 22. Keep in mind that Herman Moore shaken up with an injured leg. Not back, and now the Lions are going to make a change at quarterback. Gus Frerotte will come in the game, and the word on Charlie Batch, he has a bruised upper right arm and is doubtful as to whether he will return. So a dramatic turn of events. Both teams changing quarterbacks here in the second half. One out of because of injury, with Frerotte, the former Redskin, now in there. Lions start from the 22-yard line. Lions lead 19-7. Play fake, and Frerotte flicks it out, and it's dropped by Schlesinger. Well, if there is pressure on Gus Frerotte, who's leading 19-7, there's pressure on him because you know the Vikings may start to get their offense in gear.
Well, when Gus Frerotte is playing his best, what he does, he throws a nice deep ball, something that the Detroit Lion offense has not done with regularity at all. He throws a pretty good deep ball. And you have to remember, he's a young quarterback. Although he started for the Redskins, he was thrust into a position where he had to play. And he kind of won that position by default. So you can still do things to Frerotte. He's a young guy.
Second down and 10. Frerotte getting some time going underneath, and Schlesinger drops the ball, and it looked like he wasn't even ready for that pass.
Well, I think that was a mix-up underneath between Rivers and Schlesinger. Heck, he just doinked it off of that head of his.
So Schlesinger figuring in 2 drops for whatever reason on the last 2 plays.
Well, the previous play, that was definitely a drop. This play here, he just bounced it off his face mask.
They're the starting quarterbacks.
And they're not doing very well right now, are they? I still think this Detroit Lion offense, you have to push the ball down the field. You're playing in a box when you're throwing it under 15 yards.
3 wide receivers on 3rd down and 10. Frerotte sacked. Tony Williams came in.
One of the reasons why you can't push the ball down the field is because of that. That time you get a breakdown. Tony Williams working inside on Hardings, and he just got beat clean. Hardings he knew it too. Hardings has been by far their best player on that offensive line, and has really been playing pretty well. He got beat clean by Williams.
There's no question you could sense a momentum change right off the top with George in and then Frerotte in, and now John Jett with a low snap, and the kick is deflected away. Mo Williams, and it's run in by Morrow. And they're going to say that it was blown down.
Yeah, because Jett fell on top of him and would have downed it. Williams, that looked like that ball took a long time to get off. Williams came off the corner and kind of was in a dilemma. He didn't want to rough the kicker. He kind of just stuck his hand out there.
And it looked like a dying quail snap, if such a thing exists, from Alan Aldridge, the long snapper.
You watch him, going to come right here. Rice just puts a hand out there.
There was no kick and no block, really.
Heck, it's a swing and a miss. That's where he's down, right there. Jett just fell over the top of him.
He whiffed.
Looked like a Pedro Martinez pitching performance.
Swing and a miss. So 1st and goal at the 7 for the Vikings. And the handoff to Leroy Horde. And Horde is tackled by Aldridge at the 5-yard line. And a point, Matt, that you made during the break after the touchdown, and you say this game could be a tale of 2 halves, and right now that's bearing up as the Vikings are threatening to score and get back into the game in a big way.
And I think if that happens, you have to go back and pat that Minnesota Vikings defense on the back for holding them to field goals instead of touchdowns in the first half.
2nd and goal at the 5.
George likes the matchup up top. Randy Moss on Bailey.
He sure does. But he throws it away, and J.B. Brown covering Randy Moss. That'll bring up 3rd and goal at the 5-yard line. And now let's see whether the Lion defense can do what the Vikings did, and that is hold Minnesota to a field goal attempt and not let them get into the end zone.
The other thing that happens when you get this quick turnaround is a confidence, not only momentum, but confidence starts to come up. And if this Minnesota Viking offense starts to walk a little bit of that swagger, they can score quick.
David Palmer in the lineup in the backfield on 3rd and goal from the 5. Pressure and a fumble and a loose ball. Travis Kerskey has it, and the Lions get it on a turnover. A big play by the Detroit defense.
And tell if somebody hit that ball, if it just popped out of his hand. George was going to go over here to the right again. That just popped out of his hand. Nobody even touched him. He never quite had the handle on it. Kerskey was right there. He was going to go to Moss down on the left side.
And what a way to deflate the Minnesota Viking momentum as they turn it over for the 4th time in the game, when it looked like they were going to get at least 3 on this trip. And Travis Kerskey very alertly picking up the ball as it came off of Jeff George's arm. And now the Lions get the ball on the 14. Gus Frerotte, who took over for the injured Charlie Batch, who has a bruised upper arm, throwing on him. The handoff is to Ron Rivers.
Oh, Robert Griffith was right there, the strong safety. Yeah, Robert Griffith is very good around the line of scrimmage. He's an excellent tackler. He has very, very good. Just becomes a player basically like a running back, where he's just reading the hole. That time he read it perfectly.
And Ray Roberts is the injured Lion. Yes, another offensive lineman hurt for Detroit. With left tackle Ray Roberts leaving the game, more patchwork plugging by the Detroit Lions as Tony Ramirez comes into the game. He'll play right tackle, and Barrett Brooks, making his first start of the year, the former Eagle, moves to left tackle to replace Ray Roberts. It's amazing that the Lions can get any production from this line the way they've had to mix and match. Tony Semple injured, not playing. 2nd down and 9 from the 15. Gus Frerotte.
That didn't take long for John Randall to find a new guy in the lineup, did he? Lined up right over Ramirez and just came, and they had a back to that side even. Just ran right by Ramirez. Back goes the other way. Now it's one-on-one with Ramirez. See how he attacks half the guy? See, he attacked that half shoulder, and Frerotte got deeper in his drop. And you have to wonder, with a new quarterback, if they're not on the same page. Ramirez the first time in, and you don't have the drop and your pass protection in the same, you don't have them coordinated.
Ray Roberts getting set to be driven off the field. Randall with his 3rd sack of the year, and Frerotte having to rush things against the pressure of the Vikings, which was missing in the first half. Tony Williams on the pressure. 4th down, and the crowd, a rare thing, booing the home team, who are leading by 12.
Well, they're frustrated because they're not doing anything right now. And now what is when you have to go with a quick throw, which makes you a lot easier to defend because your offensive line is way out of sorts. Your right tackle is now your left tackle. Your guy who's hurt is your right tackle. You got your offensive line all shook up.
Alan Aldridge
problems
with the snap. And a good high kick by John Jett. David Palmer already in Lion territory on the return, and will go out of bounds at the 36-yard line. So the Vikings will have their best field position of the game when we come back. Back here at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, sellout crowd. The Lions leading 19-7, but the Vikings trying to make a move here in the 3rd quarter with Jeff George taking over for Randall Cunningham. And the Vikings on the Lion 36-yard line. Leroy Hoare, the running back. And a bobble on the snap, and the pass up the middle. Randy Moss has it and scores.
Didn't take long. Even the bobbled snap, Dick. He recovered, and see how fast that ball came out of his hand.
You're right about his talents, and you're right about his leadership. And right now the Vikings need both, and they're getting his talents as the touchdown pass, 36 yards to Randy Moss. And the Vikings back in it.
Watch this balls fall. He bubbles it right at the start. He goes back. He looks right now. He knows what he has. Look at this. Bing. Ball's thrown quick. comes out of there, throw it up high, let him go get it. It's no match.
And the extra point by Gary Anderson, and now the Lion lead is cut to 19-14. Jeff George to Randy Moss, who so far now has caught 7 passes for 75 yards and a TD.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By OnNet from MCI WorldCom, your one connection to the world. By KFC, home of the new tender roast sandwich. At KFC, we do chicken right in a bucket and now on a bun. And by Gateway. Gateway speaks to 50,000 people a day. Connect with us.
Randall Cunningham and Jeff George. George coming in the second half has already thrown 2 touchdown passes, and we still have 9 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the third quarter. He provided the spark, and finally a smile on the face of Randy Moss. It's been a frustrating year for him, but he caught the touchdown pass, 36 yards on a one-play drive. The kickoff returned by Terry Fair for the Lions, showing some of his speed, but he is down at the 23-yard line by Mo Williams.
Watch Jeff George handling this bobbled snap. See, the center, Christie, kept his hand on it for the longest time, and he couldn't quite get it. Once he got the handle, this is the anatomy of a score. They're playing the zone. They're going to occupy him and occupy this safety and turn Mark Carrier over in the middle of the field. Look at this, what he has to play with. He's right on top of him, but the ball's thrown right where it has to be, up high. Carrier's in a position, but he just gets out finesse and comes back in for the score.
So the Lions start from the 23 with an audible from the quarterback, Gus Farrat. Charlie Batch injured with a bruised right arm. Pass caught by Crowell and down immediately. Farrat played for the Redskins, as you know, first 5 years in the NFL, and started the season opener last year, but relegated to backup duty the remainder of the year after suffering a shoulder injury in the season opener, and was a very unhappy quarterback in Washington. And there you see the Lions in the minus column. Total yards so far in this quarter, the Vikings over 100 with 2 touchdowns.
That last play was nice by Farrat. He was able to see the cushion, audible, get rid of it quick. That negates the rush.
2nd down and 5. And the quick to Johnny Morton, and Morton edging forward for the first down, has it.
Same thing. Do the same thing. Chris Rogers, the corner, is out there. He's going to give him a cushion, and Farrat's going to take advantage of it. At every level of football, I think you have to do this. If you're getting a big cushion out there, take advantage of it. It doesn't have to be a whole scheme of X's and O's. Just take what they're giving you. Look at the cushion. You're talking about a 10-yard cushion. One step, he gives 2. You pick up the first down.
How about the Lions offensive line, where Eric Beverly is now playing center, and Mike Compton, the starting center, has moved to right tackle. Talk about shuffling the front line. There is Ron Rivers trying to turn the corner, and Orlando Thomas making the tackle, but a gain of close to 5 yards. Call it 6 for Ron Rivers.
In defense of Ramirez, the tackle who was beaten by John Randall, he's banged up also. He hurt himself this week in practice, and so he went out there and tried to give it the old college try, but it wasn't about to happen, so they put Compton. Now that's tough to do. Now Beverly comes out.
Ray Roberts goes back in.
Roberts goes back in.
There's a soap opera here with the Lions offensive line.
As the Lion turns.
L-I-N-E or L-I-O-N?
L-I-N-E.
2nd and 4. Crowell lining up in the backfield, takes the pitch. Jermaine Crowell, and it doesn't work because Robert Griffith comes up to make the play, and a gain of 2 right now. Let's check in with James Brown in Los Angeles. JB.
Take a look at the young fella from UCLA, Cade McDowell, play action on the move. Who does he find? Marcus Robinson, 80-yard touchdown strike. That's pay dirt, and Chicago coming back. It's now Philadelphia by a touchdown in the 3rd. Dick Stockton, Matt Millen.
Amazing, isn't it?
Maybe every game is going to be a tale of 2 halves, not only this one. 3rd down and 3 now for the Lions. 1 for 8 thus far on the conversions. Gus Farrat flush from the pocket looking for a receiver, and a great catch is made by David Sloan for the first down in Viking territory. With Ed McDaniel on him, a pickup of 12 yards.
That was good patience by Farrat. And watch Ed McDaniel. He's working. Sees the eyes. He has the coverage on Sloan. Watch him going to come back underneath. He's right on top, and watch where the ball's thrown. That's actually a good job by McDaniel. See how he was feeling him with his left hand? You might say at home that was a hold. That's the way you cover big linebacker. I mean, big tight ends. It was a good catch by Sloan.
First down on the 47. Gus Frerotte on a play fake. Trying to force it down the middle, and incomplete. Johnny Morton was the intended receiver. Lions at one point led 19-0 in the first half, capitalizing a big time on 3 turnovers by the Vikings, but getting mostly field goals. And Bobby Ross's team now seeing the lead cut to 5 as Jeff George, entering the game for Randall Cunningham, has engineered 2 touchdowns for Minnesota. 2nd and 10 at the 47 of the Vikings. Rivers and Kylie Wong, who's returning to action after missing 3 games with a hamstring pull. And Roberts loses his helmet and is being ganged upon by the white-shirted purple people. Purple people? Something like that. Well, emotion always in the NFC Central. This is the tightest division. Cover them with a blanket. Green Bay leading 3-1. And Minnesota trying to get to 500. The Lions trying to get over 500. But keep in mind, Detroit 1-0 in the division with a win over the Packers. And Minnesota coming in at 1-2 in the NFC Central. 8th play of the drive coming up. Lions looking to end a 2-game losing streak. Pretty even in the play selection. The Lions need 9 yards. Frerotte complete. Jermaine Crowell. Big play. Gus Frerotte first hitting Sloan, and then Crowell to 22-yard pickup and a first down at the 24 of Minnesota.
Frerotte had Crowell outside on Jimmy Hitchcock, and he saw it was matched up man-to-man, and he knew where he was going right from the start. His eyes never come off it. Watch where the ball's thrown down to the inside. Crowell does an excellent job of getting position on Hitchcock to the inside. Uses his big body, kind of slaps him to the side, picks up the first. And you remember the Lions have lost Herman Moore returning to action today with an injured lower leg in the first half. Yeah, no backs in the backfield. You're right. Empty backfield, and the pass bobbled and caught by Crowell for a gain to about the 20-yard line. Robert Griffith holding the Lions to a 5-yard pickup. I like Robert Griffith. I like the way he plays. I always did. He's not a real big guy, doesn't run really well, has good instincts. I mean, he runs well enough. He makes up for that, what he doesn't have with those instincts. Uses angles well, field position. He's real good around the line of scrimmage. And they're doing it without Herman Moore and Charlie Batch. Moore with the lower leg injury. Charlie Batch with the upper arm bruise. They're on the sidelines as the Lions try to hold on to their lead and add to it. Ron Rivers on 2nd and 5, and he won't get there. Orlando Thomas, and a flag is down, making the tackle. There's going to be a hold against the Detroit Lions. And it looked like Chris Dolman was held. He was that right defensive end. And Sloan came down inside. It looked like he was working a double team, but it also looked like he got trapped inside.
Holding. Number 86 of the offense.
That's what we just saw.
A 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
That'll bring the ball back to the 30-yard line, and talk about momentum breakers within drives. Those are always harmful. Back to the 30. Dennis Green like to have been in the locker room when he delivered his halftime talk. Usually not much is said. Usually you pretty much know it by yourself. Very few do you get those New Rockney rah-rah speeches. 2nd down and 16 on the 30. Ross sees something. Pass is caught by Crowell, but the rookie Kenny Wright not letting him get away. And it'll be a 3rd down, a loss of a yard on the play. Maybe no gain, but the Lions looking to get the ball closer to at least attempt a field goal here.
Wonder if Farrat thought maybe he was going to get his zone, but they ended up sticking with it with man, and Wright just hung right on Crowell. He's going to try to jump back outside to the flat. Heck, he ended up picking up none.
3rd down and 16. 12th play of the drive. Kenny Wright, the rookie from Northwestern State in Louisiana, starting at quarterback, and flag is down. And let's see whether normally that is against the offense and a false start call, and that may be it. So chalk up 5 more yards against Bobby Ross's Lions, moving the other way.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 83 of the offense, a 5-yard penalty.
That was on Brian Stabline. Normally you'd think that offensive line might be guilty of that with all of the changes, but it was the wide receiver for a 5-yard penalty. Will bring up 3rd down and 21 back to the 35. Right now this would be a 52-yard field goal attempt for Jason Hansen if the Lions don't gain anything,
which he could hit easily.
Farrat stepping up, chased by Randall, who gets him from behind at the 31. John Randall getting the play and getting Farrat, bringing up 4th down.
Looking for Johnny Morton down. They kept the safety over the top. Orlando Thomas was right on top, but there was no place to go. It looked like he was trying to go to Sloan next, but again, there was nothing there. He had to eat it. Randall came off the block, and it sets up this field goal attempt of what?
49 yards.
49 yards. He already has one from 49.
That's right. So looking for his 5th field goal in the game. That would be a career high for Hansen. John Jett holding. Not a good snap. The kick, though, long enough. No good. Off to the right. The snap was behind John Jett. He had to turn around, put it down, and Jason Hansen misses a 49-yard field goal. Mike Compton, the holder, and the missed field goal keeps the score at 19-14 Lions. Jim Zorn, the quarterback coach with Gus Farrat in relief of Charlie Batch. 19-14 the score, 1:13 to go in the 3rd quarter. The field goal by Hansen missed, would have given the Lions an 8-point lead. Now the Vikings and Jeff George. Already led 2 touchdown drives in the 3rd quarter in relief of Randall Cunningham, and the slant to Randy Moss. And Robert Bailey caught up with him after a gain of 30 yards. You think Randy Moss likes what he's getting from Jeff George today?
This all started at the line of scrimmage with Jeff George. He checked it. And then just, hey, you're going to give the middle of the field up that easily? He's going to take advantage of it. That's a nice job of Bailey of making that tackle, because he was about to hit the next gear, and it was out the gate.
And Randy Moss over 100 yards for the 3rd straight game. Vikings on the 30-yard line of the Lions. Leroy Horde driven down by Robert Porcher. Well, tonight on Fox, the drama increases in the American League Championship Series. Yankees and Red Sox from Fenway Park in Game 4, beginning at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And a rout last night by the Red Sox, winning 13-1, the worst loss in Yankee postseason history. Yankees lead in the series 2-1, and the Red Sox have gone to town in a big way at Fenway Park in postseason. And the time runs out, and that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score: the Lions 19 and the Vikings 14. Fox NFL Sunday will continue right after these messages. Start of the 4th quarter, the Vikings with 2 touchdowns, cutting the 19-0 lead. 2nd down and 10 for Minnesota on the Lions' 30-yard line. Jeff George getting some pressure, but the quick release to Jake Reed, his first catch of the game. And Reed, who injured a knee during the week, not used much today.
You know, even though it's a run play going on, it doesn't mean that there's lack of physical activity outside with your wide receiver. Now you got to remember, these two always go at each other. I mean, I was talking to one of the coaches prior to the game, and he said, you know, I'm just going to have fun watching Chris Carter and Bailey.
That was the last play of the 3rd quarter. Now we're in the fourth. It'll be 3rd and 5 at the 25. And Jeff George calling a timeout is the first timeout for the Vikings. We'll be right back to the Pontiac Silverdome.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealer. By Sprint PCS, experience the clear alternative to cellular. By Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by HiFi.com for the best in home theater, audio, and video equipment. Sign on, sit back.
3rd and 5 following the timeout. Jeff George's pass. And it's either caught or intercepted. It is caught for the first down. Jake Reed, and the official wisely waited till he made sure that it was Reed who caught the ball.
But there was a wrestling match going on the bottom of that pile there.
Mark Carrier all around the play.
Watch how Reed comes back to the ball. He throws this like the fade stop. He throws it kind of on the line, lets him come back to the ball. Now watch it. There's going to be a wrestling match going on. He catches it with his knees, and then Carrier's right there to try to steal it, but it's clearly a catch and a good call by the officials. Jake Reed comes up with it.
23-yard gain, 1st and goal at the 2 for the Vikings, who are trailing 19-0 and looking to take the lead. And Leroy Horde forced in, touchdown Vikings. What a 3rd quarter comeback, and in the 4th quarter, the go-ahead score, and Leroy Horde powers his way in from the 2, and Jeff George.
They want to go for 2.
They will go for 2. And that's what the plan will be. It is 20-19, and a 2-point conversion here would give the Vikings a 3-point lead. So the Lions would need a field goal to tie, as opposed to getting a field goal to take the lead if they went for the extra point.
It's interesting that Jeff George, the guys he went to, he went to Moss for a touchdown, then Carter for a touchdown, then Jake Reed for a big play. And looks like the Vikings from a year ago.
Yes, they do, with a different quarterback than they had a year ago. Jeff George's pass knocked away by Brown. They were going to Carter, and so the 2-point conversion, the first attempted this year by the Vikings, fails. But Minnesota takes its first lead, 20-19.
Hey, this 2-point conversion was really well defended. They're anticipating that Bailey is going to lock up man on Carter. But what happens is they switch at the end, and J.B. Brown drops off on Carter, and they turn Bailey over inside. The ball's thrown after it has been switched off of the defense, well defended, and it's incomplete.
Leroy Horde scoring the touchdown. The Vikings have 3 rushing touchdowns this year, all by Leroy Horde. And Minnesota with 20 unanswered points, taking a 20-19 lead early here in the 4th quarter with a minute and a half gone by. Terry Fair back to return it, and the pressure now on the offensive arm of Gus Frerotte and the rest of the Lions.
Dick, I think one thing has to be said. This is the best offense that Jeff George has ever worked with, bar none.
He was with Indianapolis 4 years, Atlanta for 3, and Oakland for 2, and you're right. Fair running it out of the end zone, and stop short of the 20-yard line. Big pass, the 23-yard pass to Jake Reed that set it up, a remarkable catch.
And well thrown. It's thrown behind. The coverage is right there. Fair is right on top of him, but the ball's thrown behind him where it's either an incompletion or a completion. The advantage, and that sounds bad, either an incompletion or a completion. What else is it going to be? But the advantage goes to the receiver because he knows where that ball is. He can come back to it, and you keep the defender high on your shoulder.
Tale of 2 halves, yardage-wise, big time. Still have 13:21 to go in the 4th quarter. And don't forget the 30-yard pass to Randy Moss.
Right.
Before the pass to
Start
Reed.
that whole thing off.
Greg Hill is the setback. Gus Frerotte, the quarterback. First down at the 18-yard line, and it's completed to Jermaine Crowell. You get a glimpse of the terrific speed that Crowell has before he's brought down by Robert Griffith, but not before the Lions get 13 yards and a first down.
You can see Crowell's speed. You can see his skills. What he has to learn, and he's young, he's got to learn to be consistent week in and week out for 16 games. You know, just watching film of him last week, there were times he had his guy beat and he just didn't come out of his break fast. And that's hard for a quarterback to get on the same page.
There's Herman Moore and Charlie Batch out with injury. So the Lions have to rely on other people to pull this one out. First down on the 31. Greg Hill dives forward, and a gain of 2 or 3 will bring up second down and long.
You know, speaking of Jimmy Hitchcock last night, I really enjoyed talking to him because he's one of those players who's a studier, and he wears the same number of a guy who I played with. People would say, oh, Lester's guessing. Just like you look at Hitchcock, say he's guessing. But it's based on lots of study.
2nd and 7. Slant caught. Johnny Morton. Another first down for the Lions. And speaking about Hitchcock, and you asked him about where he learned his technique and everything. Bill Belichick when he was with New England.
Yeah, exactly. He was now the defensive coordinator with the New York Jets. But I like to see a player who puts the time in, who can tell you about the guy he's playing across, what he likes to do, what the quarterback does. That, to me, you know, you may not have the greatest skills, but if you study, you can be a top-notch player.
2 tight ends as Walter Rasby joins David Sloan. First down, Lions on their 45. Barat with the quick release, and this pass intended for Johnny Morton. They're going to bring up 2nd and 10.
They're going to continue to throw those quick stick, like you're talking about, to Morton and Crowell until those corners stop giving that cushion. And then when those cushions get a lot less, then there's going to come a double move where they're going to go on top.
Second down and 10. Gus Frerotte 8 of 13 for 74 yards. And after a 19-0 lead, the Lions have to rely on Frerotte to bring this team back. Here's the give to Greg Hill. Hill with some tough running gets into Viking territory, short of the first down by about a yard. It was Martin Harrison returning to the Viking defense after being out with injury, but Hill having a big day in relief of Ron Rivers. They're using Rivers, and Hill has gained 65 yards on 9 carries, and it'll be 3rd and 1 coming up.
In the first half, Hill had a couple of big pushes right up in the middle. Said he had his 65 yards. Right now, they only need 1.
And they go to Hill, and Hill is knocked back by Robert Griffith, who came in, and Robert Griffith with a big play did not get the first down. No gain on the play, and that will bring up 4th down and 1 with the score 20-19 and a lot of time remaining. You know, the crowd wants them to go for it, and right now it looks like Bobby Ross is going to do it. They're going to go for it on 4th down and 1.
Heck, you know how big it is? We're even turning it red up here. That's how big this down is.
You can see the perspiration on the face of Gus Frerotte. And a play fake. And Freratte's pass caught by Johnny Morton. First down and a great fake handoff to Hill. And Bobby Ross with a great call there and a pickup of 10 yards to Johnny Morton, and a first down for the Lions as they convert on 4th down.
That's Sylvester Groom, the offensive coordinator.
Right.
Excellent job of play action. You can watch him drag all the way across. This would be his first route underneath, but Kylie Wong did an excellent job of taking Sloan away, and so you only had one way to go with that, and that's to Johnny Morton on that crossing route. But because of the play fake, and he's able to roll and buy some time, that's what I like about that play. You get the completion.
Now they go to Hill, and Hill running right into the defender, Martin Harrison, for a 2-yard gain.
That kind of route takes a long time to develop because you're running all the way across the field. And so if you sit back, you're not going to have it. So you have to buy some time with the feet. So you go play action to it, and then you come back outside.
You know, Matt, we have seen some really fine catches by both players of both teams today.
Yeah, and we've seen a couple of drops, too.
Second down and 8 on the 34-yard line. Pressure on Farrat, and down he goes. The sack. Robert Griffith coming in, and a safety blitz. That is the 4th time that the Vikings have gotten to Detroit quarterbacks today, and a loss of 3 yards.
This kid is playing a heck of a game. Coach Fazio knows, look, you have a good coach will put his players in a position to make plays. Griffith makes plays, so you have to put him in that position to take advantage of it. That call right there by Coach Fazio, their defensive coordinator, that's good coaching. It's a good marriage.
Meanwhile, the Lions have to get to the Viking 26, but if they don't get that far, they'll be in better field goal range for Jason Hansen. They're down by 1 point. Farrat completes the pass to Greg Hill, and Hill gets inside the 30, short of the first down, but it's sufficient enough so that Jason Hansen can come on after the tackle by Ed McDaniel.
And Hitchcock is getting up a little slow.
And give the Lions the lead once again. So Hansen, who missed his last field goal attempt from 49 yards out, 4 for 5 today, will try to give the Lions the lead here in the 4th quarter as we get wind down to 7.5 minutes remaining. So they didn't have to necessarily move the chains, just get it closer for Hansen. This will be a 47-yard field goal attempt.
Last one he missed was 49, right?
That's right. It was a bad snap by Compton to Jet. This was high but better. This kick up, and this kick is good. And the Lions regain the lead, and Jason Hansen has set a career high with his 5th field goal of the game, and the Lions lead it 22-20 over the Vikings. We'll be right back. The Lions have regained the lead 22-20. They led 19-0. The Vikings scored 20 points, and now Detroit leads again as Jason Hansen with a career best 5 field goals. And Jeff George getting set to go back to work. He has engineered this second half rally by the Vikings, and the kickoff to David Palmer, running it out of the end zone. And Palmer is held up right about the 25 by Ty Talton.
He's lucky he didn't get a tie flag right there.
Right. Talton, who was put on the roster this week by the Lions. So Jeff George, who has had things his way. Don't forget the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader. The Green Bay Packers and Brett Favre, who has engineered some last-second comebacks this year against the Denver Broncos. 1-4 on the year. The Packers are 3-1. Most of you will see that game as the second half of our Fox NFL doubleheader. 3 wide receivers up top. First down on the 21. The give is to Leroy Horde. Nothing doing. And the Lion defense trying to come up big with 6:48 to go. That time Scott Kolkowski. Remember, their top run stopper, Stephen Boyd, the middle linebacker, unable to play today. They don't have Brian Westbrook either at cornerback.
They've played pretty solid, though, defensively. Now, the second half, Jeff George kind of had his way in the passing game. Kolkowski's done a pretty decent job inside. You're looking at Kolkowski was standing there with no uniform on.
2nd and 8. George's pass caught by Randy Moss to the 31-yard line, close to the first down. He may be shy by a yard or less. J.B. Brown defending on the play.
Ball gets out there in a hurry, doesn't it? You know, just talking to Jeff George a couple weeks ago, we were in Minnesota, and I just had a chance to sit down and talk to him, and I asked him how things are going. He said, I'm just going to be patient. He said, it didn't work out for me the last time. There's a lot of talent on this team. And I'm just going to wait my time and see if something happens. Well, now it's happening.
Moss goes out of the game on 3rd down and 1. They've got the power team in there. And here's Horde, first down, and still churning. Leroy Horde to the 36-yard line.
That's where he's good, Dick. If you need 2 yards, Leroy Horde's going to get you 3. If you need 5 yards, Leroy Horde's going to get you 3. That's what he is.
He got to 6.
He's one of those guys who's just going to power. Watch how he finishes. Bam! Just keeps on churning. I've always liked him, but I like him between the tackles. I don't like when they try to run him off tackle.
40 yards on 10 carries for Leroy Horde. Mo Williams spells him now. Under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Jeff George nearly had the ball stripped and finally sacked by James Jones.
Good coverage down the field all the way.
And the 4th sack of the game by the Lions.
Almost got himself this ball slapped away. He's looking to his left. Porcher comes through, gets his hand on it, and he's able to pull it back down. It's actually a good play by Jeff George.
Loss of 2. 2nd and 12. And now Jeff George calling the 2nd timeout by the Vikings. That could be risky with only 1 timeout left. And we'll be right back. We're back after Minnesota's 2nd timeout of the second half. The Detroit Lions trying to go 2-0 in the NFC Central after beating Green Bay. Jeff George on the run, and the pass complete to Randy Moss, and that'll be a first down for the Minnesota Vikings. He knew where the sticks were.
Dick, more than where the sticks were, he did an excellent job of reading the coverage. He's got a safety sitting up high and one to the inside. They're trying to box him, so he used the box against them. Whenever you play a zone and they're zoning you off, you sit down in the gray area and you make the other guy think he's going to take care of it. Moss did a great job of sitting right down.
And a career high 10th reception today for Randy Moss. First down on the Viking 47, and they go on the ground to Horde, and a great play made that time by Luther Ellis. And you got to give him a lot of credit, Matt, because questionable as to whether he would play because he was injured with the groin pull, and he's in there in the crucial time in the fourth.
And he's playing tough. I mean, believe me, playing with a bad groin is not easy. He just abuses David Dixon. Throws him to the side and takes advantage of Leroy Horde. And now he's all fired up inside. When Luther Ellis is really good, he plays emotionally and he's quick off the ball.
2nd down and 10. Under 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Jeff George going for Jake Reed, and he's got it.
This is a completely different offense with Jeff George in there. They came with a blitz and they picked it up perfectly. Watch, you're going to watch up top. They're going to roll the bones again. They had the extra man in Collins, but he didn't come all the way. Bought a little bit of time. Jake Reed got on top of J.B. Brown, and the ball's right there.
They haven't gone to Reed much today, but he has made critical catches. The 23-yarder that set up the touchdown to put the Vikings in front. And that 38-yard grab as he comes out of the game. Remember, he is bothered by a knee injury.
Looks like they're checking for his shoulder right now.
And the Lions will call a timeout, stopping it with 2:25 remaining in the fourth.
Dick, it takes more than just the quarterback to be able to see. See, Chris Carter sees it right away. He knows there's something happening. He could see the corner, and he called it out and pointed it out. The other thing to remember, they had Leroy Horde sitting inside to the left to pick up Collins. So everyone was accounted for, and because of that nice protection, Reed gets on top of Brown, and the ball's perfectly thrown.
So if you're wondering where the Viking offense went from a year ago, just check out the second half of this game when Jeff George came in for Randall Cunningham with the Vikings down 19-0. He engineered 20 unanswered points before Jason Hansen gave the Lions the lead again. And now going down to the wire with 2:25 to go. And last year, not many close games at all for the Dennis Green-led Minnesota Vikings. They were 2-3 in games decided by a touchdown or less.
You know, the best thing I liked about George is he's throwing the ball to everyone. Moss has been there. Carter's been there. Reed's been there. The only guy I haven't thrown to has been the tight end.
1st and 10 at the 15. Here's Leroy Horde. And the Lions bottling up the running game. Kelvin Pritchett making the tackle. We'll bring up 2nd down as we get close to the 2-minute warning. And the Lions have 2 timeouts left, and the Vikings only 1. And the clock will tick down to the 2-minute warning. Lions lead by 2, but the Vikings are at least in field goal range. We'll be right back. 2-minute warning here at the Pontiac Silverdome. Dick Stockton with Matt Millen and Pam Oliver. The Vikings looking to take the lead. They were down 19-0 at the half as the Lions scored a defensive touchdown, and the 3 field goals make it 4 by Jason Hansen. And then Jeff George took over in the 3rd quarter and led the Vikings back. And Charlie Batch injured for Detroit, so the backup quarterbacks took center stage. It'll be 2nd and 9 at the 14. Mo Williams, the deep back for the Vikings, and the handoff goes to Mo Williams. And Mo Williams fighting his way. Ron Rice wrestling him down at the 12-yard line. And a timeout called by the Lions, so they will be left with 1 timeout. 1:51 on the clock. They want to save the time for when they get the ball back on offense.
Dick, one thing they can't afford down here is to beat themselves again. So look at Mo Williams. There's no way he's giving this ball up. 2 hands on the ball the whole time. That ball's not popping out no matter what. That's a good job of protecting the football.
Critical game for the Minnesota Vikings in the fact that they're looking to get to 500 and not suffer a 3rd division loss this early in the season. 2-3 for the first time under Dennis Green's tutelage, and the Lions, after impressive early season wins at Seattle and against the Packers here, only team to beat the Seahawks and the Packers, trying to end a 2-game losing streak.
Pretty tough for this Detroit Lion team to kind of get anything going. Actually, I thought they played pretty well considering all that's happened to them. You know, the loss of Barry Sanders, all the guys have been hurt in their offensive line. Defensively, they get guys playing and not playing.
Batch and Moore
go out. There's all kinds of things. They get more guys in regular shirts than they do in uniforms.
Right. 3rd down and 7 at the 12. Here is Leroy Horde, and Leroy Horde will be stopped inside the 10-yard line, but Gary Anderson will be coming on to attempt a field goal. The Lions have used up their 3rd and last timeout. Anderson has struggled despite the 5 for 5 last week. He has had 3 kicks blocked and another one missed. So
last year he was perfect, remember?
35 for 35, and that was a first in the NFL that a kicker went through the season without missing a field goal.
And the one he missed was
against Atlanta in the championship game.
There's the snapper, Mike Morris, who's
Mike Berger will hold. This will be a 26-yard field goal attempt with 1:43 on the clock. So if the Vikings do get the 3 to take the lead, the Lions would have that much time left, or close to it, with no timeouts left, to set up for a 3-pointer of their own.
Remember, Mike Morris is the guy who takes his garbage out, snapping it, takes the cat out, snapping it. Remember that promo we had with Fox?
Yes, that was very
that was
cute.
hilarious. I'm sure all the cat lovers in the country loved it too.
Now all they want him to do is snap it through to Berger, which he does. And the kick is up, and the kick is good. The Vikings take the lead. Whoever thought this would be a seesaw affair, Matt, when it was 19-0 at the half in favor of the Lions. But Gary Anderson feeling good, as well he should, as the Vikings lead 23-22 with 1:40 to go.
One guy who had a hunch was Dennis Green. Dennis Green knew at halftime he had to make a switch. And so he said, guess what? I know we're not running this offense the way it should be right now. We're a little bit out of sync. And I'm going to get Jeff George and throw him in because I think he can make a difference, and he was right.
That was a master stroke for Dennis Green, the way it worked out. But this game is not over yet, and now the Lions offense in the hands of Gus Frerotte, who came in the second half with Charlie Batch. Had to come out with an injured right forearm. Herman Moore also lost for the game after coming back after being injured in week 1.
George has been brilliant here in the second half. And the guy he found mostly, I think he threw it to everybody, but Moss was the greatest beneficiary. He started the second half with him, and he stayed with him. He wasn't shy about throwing it to other people, but remember also, you're going to look at the red zone for Detroit. You have to look at the flip side of that and say Minnesota's defense really did a good job of holding them to those field goals.
Terry Fair back deep, ready to receive the kickoff from Mitch Berger. The Lions do not have any timeouts left. They have to be creative, and it's Fair at the goal line. Terry Fair running up the middle, and he is hit hard at the 26. Great speed. Robert Griffith.
He is one tough player.
And Mo Williams right there on the play. It was Robert Griffith, however, who made the initial hit. And the Lions will start from the 27-yard line with 1:34 on the clock.
That kid could be on my team anytime he wants.
Ferocious.
I really like
secondary.
Him. He's got limitations, don't get me wrong, but he comes to play. And I'll take those guys every day. 13, yeah. I said it first.
Yes, that's why I begged off.
And a sack. And a sack for Griffith.
Penalty flag, and the mic not working.
Well, you know what he said? He said,
and he pointed.
That was it.
And he said first down. So the
I crack myself up sometimes.
You know what? You know what?
What a dork.
You're his. Notice how we refrain from comment.
Yeah, I know.
Like that.
Your silence was guilty on a guilty verdict.
Now, Ron Winter looking to get his microphone fixed.
And Chuck Preeper, if that's the case, Chuck, the special teams coach, is like, give me a break. Who cares about your mic?
Oh, I hope the technician who fixes that isn't in one of the private boxes up here. It'll take a while.
All right, now that's Gus Frerotte, who's got a $134, no timeouts. He's been 10 for 15, mostly the short, quick things. You got to have a little excitement. You think he looks excited right there? It looks like he's ready to fall asleep.
Remember, the Lions only have to get into field goal range for Jason Hansen, who has kicked field goals from 49 and 47 yards today.
Which means they have to get, let's see, 10, 20, 30. They got to go about 35 to 40 yards to give him a shot.
And remember, the career long field goal for Jason Hansen is 56 yards. So
there's no question he has the leg. We saw that earlier. He kicked one from 49, and then he missed one from 49. But even in that miss, he's more than capable of hitting 56.
Brian Stabline comes out as the third wide receiver. He's in the slot to the left. 1st and 10 at the 27. Gus Frerotte with a quick toss. It's a slant to Jermaine Crowell, and they get to the 35-yard line, 2 yards short of the first down. Rodgers on the stop, and it's a hurry-up offense all the way, and an occasional spike of the ball.
Patience is the key for the Minnesota defense and the Detroit offense.
2nd down and 2, another slant pass, caught at the 41 to Crowell again, and another first down as the Lions with a hurry-up, now winding down to a minute left. And now they're going to regroup as they stop the clock with a spike in 1:01 showing. So now the Lions up to the 40-yard line, getting closer.
Orlando Thomas is talking to Chris Rodgers outside, and you put him in a precarious position if he starts tightening up his coverage out there, because the next thing that's going to happen is a slant and go. So unless he's over there saying, be a little more aggressive, I'll cover you, you got to be careful. Hitchcock's tightened his coverage up a little bit, but they still have about a good 8-yard cushion out there.
2nd down and 10. Here comes Griffith up to the line. And here comes the blitz, and the pass caught up the middle by Ryan Stabline, who's forced into be the 3rd receiver with Moore out of there. And now you see that Frerotte wants to spike the ball with 48 seconds in running. He does so, and 45 seconds to go, but the Lions are in Viking territory at the 43-yard line, trying to get within range for Jason Hansen to try to win it.
This is very well done by Frerotte.
You're going to see Rudd is going to be coming right up inside. So if somebody's coming in here, there has to be a void right back where he came from. He read it perfectly, and the other side to that void is Stabline has to see the same thing, which they did. They were on the same page. Remember, I talked to you earlier about Mo Williams covering up, not letting go of the fumble. Stabline did the same thing.
2nd and 10 at the 43 with 45 seconds left. No timeouts for Detroit. Murat's pass caught to the 32-yard line by Johnny Morton, and he wants to spike to stop the clock again. 35 seconds to go.
Well within field goal range for Hansen.
No question about it. And they stop the clock with 27 seconds to go.
Excellent job by Farad.
Yes.
Excellent patience. A nice job by Sylvester Kroom, the coordinator. Keeping them calm. Take what the defense gives you. They had the young corners outside. They just kept on throwing slants, worked themselves down the field.
What a unique game that we have today with the backup quarterbacks trying to get it done in the second half.
Watch Johnny Morton. It's the same. It's been the same thing they've been doing all second half. Now watch Ed McDaniel trying to just buy some extra time by trying to trip him.
2nd and 10, and the pass is caught to the 24-yard line by Johnny Morton. So they're in the 40s right now. If they don't gain any more yardage, 15 seconds to go, 14, and they stop the clock with 12 seconds to go.
They're going to
go
kick
for it now? Yes,
right now.
you do. And here comes Jason Hansen, who already has established a career high with 5 field goals.
Dick, they slanted them to death.
And Bobby Ross takes the headset off as if he's praying, hoping that Hansen can turn this game into a winner.
Surprising by me that they didn't adjust their coverage at all. And they just kept on giving the cushion and the slant.
43-yard field goal attempt. Jet the holder, Mike Compton the snapper. This is for the win. And Jason Hansen's kick.
Good.
No good. A flag is down. There's a penalty marker down, so hold it.
Did he shake?
Delay of the game. There's a delay of the game.
He pulled that one, too, a little bit.
Snap. Delay of game. Offense. A 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
So this would be a 48-yard field goal attempt coming up for Hansen. So the drama extends here at the Silverdome. Hansen already has kicked field goals from 49 and 47 yards. He is 5 for 6 today.
Yeah, they want to see if the field goal is good. Can they decline the penalty? But it doesn't matter. If the clock is run out, that play never happened.
You can't decline a delay of game penalty. They have put back 12 seconds on the clock. It had run down to 8.
I think they're going to try to ice the kicker here by calling a timeout. It looks like Dennis Green was looking for a timeout. And now they did.
That's right.
Let them think about that.
Jason Hansen has been around a while, but why not take the shot?
Wake up the echoes here in the second half, though, with Jeff George.
But you look at Jeff George taking over for Randall Cunningham, down 19-0, and bringing his team back to a lead. And then Gus Farad now having to see his first action of the year in relief of the injured Charlie Batch, and ultimately putting his team in position to win the game with a field goal. And this is high drama all the way in this NFC Central rivalry. They're the principals.
And the players.
48-yard attempt. Crowd is silent.
That's good.
And the kick is up, and the kick is good. The Lions lead it with 7 seconds to go.
Heck, Johnny Morton's running up and down the sideline over here. He's so excited.
And the 6th field goal for the game. And look at Bobby Ross on the sideline. Dennis Green knows the outcome. The 6 field goals tie a Detroit Lions team record. What drama. 48-yarder.
He hit this one dead center.
And you know, Matt, right after the delay of game call and the timeout of the Vikings to try to ice Hansen, his 6th field goal of the game, and the Lions lead it by a score of 25-23, and 7 seconds remain in this game. This has been a remarkable game of ebbs and flows. 19-0 lead for the Lions in the first half, only to see the Vikings come back and take a 20-19 lead, and then back and forth they went until Jason Hansen's field goal with 7 seconds left, right after Gary Anderson kicked one, with under 2 minutes remaining to give the Vikings a lead. Record-breaking day or career high day for Randy Moss with 10 receptions, but that means absolutely nothing if you don't get the W.
Hey, give the Lions credit. They hung in there.
Tremendous credit with their injuries, which they don't talk about.
Exactly.
Great credit.
And great patience. And Farad, who looked like he was ready to fall asleep right before he went into that, just stayed nice and easy and slanted him right to death and was able to kick the field goal.
And here is Hansen keeping it on the ground.
That's a good play.
Andrew Jordan, who was just signed this week when Jim Kleinsasser, the 2nd-string tight end, went out with an injury, and now 5 seconds left for Jeff George to try a Hail Mary, hope for maybe a penalty, and maybe get another field goal attempt if a penalty is called pass interference-wise on the Lions. That's what Bobby Ross wants to avoid.
There's not another guy in the whole league than you'd rather have on the other end of this Hail Mary than Randy Moss.
Talk about a prevent defense. Look at that. This may be it. Last play of the game. Jeff George fires it downfield, and it's intercepted, and the Lions will win it. Terry Fair, who started things with an interception and a touchdown, ends the game with an interception, and the Lions end their 2-game losing streak, go to 3-2 on the year, and the Vikings, who are now 1-3 in the NFC Central, have dropped to 2-4. So for Matt Millen and Pam Oliver, Dick Stockton saying so long from the Silver Dome. Right now, we're going to take you to bonus coverage of the Eagles and Bears. Let's join Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts for the conclusion of that game.